What's up, race fans? Welcome to the first ever weekly racing recap, where we go over all the stuff you might have missed over the weekend. On Friday, we had the ARCA Menard Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Will Kimmel took the pole, led the field for a good amount of laps there. But the surprise of the day was actually popular YouTuber Cletus McFarland, who just a week ago announced that he was going to run the Charlotte race after running Daytona and Talladega earlier this year. And he was doing pretty good. Late race restart, started on second, and Cletus, you said your next race was Bristol, right? Maybe skip that one. Anyway, after all the carnage was said and done, Austin Green brought it to the checkered flag and won the ARCA race. Afterwards, we had a special double feature at Charlotte with the truck race. We had a couple of the NASCAR Cup Series drivers in there, including Kyle Busch. Rowdy was fast the entire night in the number 7 Spire Motorsports car. But it was Gio Ruggiero? I don't know how you say that. I have never heard of that before. But he put that fast truck on pole and took the green flag for Friday night's race. But it was Corey Heim once again. Fast Toyota at the end of the race, won his 15th race in his 75th start. 20% winning percentages is definitely Hall of Fame territory. It's like Jeff Gordon, he only started some 800 starts, won 93 races, that's barely over 10%. So Corey Heim's got a very successful career ahead of him. Ross Chastain, another Cup driver in that race, finished second that night, looking to take that momentum into Sunday night's race. But now we got to move on to Saturday at Indianapolis, where we had the inaugural running of the Weenie 500. Yes, Weenie as in hot dogs. We had the 6 Wienermobiles from Oscar Mayer in a 2-lap race to see who was the fastest dog in Indianapolis. It was a tough going. Somebody blew up on the second lap. I couldn't tell who it was. But at the line, Slaw Dog passes Chili Dog to steal the win and take the first ever victory at Indianapolis for the Wienermobile. And then later that night, we head back to Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Xfinity Series race. Taylor Gray, also fast again all year, put that car on pole. But very quickly, Cup driver William Byron snuck his way to the front of the field, dominated the entire race, ended up winning both stage 1 and 2, and looked to be strong to finish the weekend out in the 600 on Sunday. But the race was not over yet. In the last 20 laps, we had 3 different incidents setting up a crazy overtime finish. And William Byron actually ended up behind Justin Allgaier at the end here, and at 2 to go, sent in this wild pass on the outside and took the lead, almost wrecking himself with Justin Allgaier. Ended up taking the win and getting a lot of momentum going on for Sunday. And now we come into the big day, the longest day in racing that isn't a 24-hour race. And we start off all the way in Europe with the Monaco GP. Nobody cares about Formula 1. Lando Norris won. Moving on. This was gonna be one of the biggest Indy 500s of all time. All throughout the month of May, throughout testing and practice, we had so many crashes. Kyle Larson going for the double for a second straight year. He had already stuffed a car a couple weeks back, and it had been a busy month for these guys. So last week, rookie Robert Schwartzman became only the second rookie ever to win the pole for the Indy 500, and he's the first to do it in almost 50 years. The rookie from Tel Aviv, Israel, looking very strong. He's got a very promising career ahead of him. And it was a very drizzly day start to the Indy 500. After the rain fell, track dried up. Everyone did some warm-up laps to get started. But absolutely nothing bad can ever happen on the pace laps, right? Right? Y'all, I've seen iRacers make it to the green flag before. Anyway, unfortunately for Scott McLaughlin, his day ended before it even started. And it was truly a heartbreaking thing to watch. I was actually watching this on recording, so I had thought that I had accidentally hit the live button or something, but no, this happened on the pace lap, and it's just an unfortunate thing. Cold tires, slightly slick tires, and it was just a disaster waiting to happen. And trust me, this wasn't the only disaster to happen in this race. So this race was difficult for a lot of drivers today, especially on pit road. Alexander Rossi had a couple issues fueling his car today and actually caught fire. Several crew members were burned. Fortunately, sounds like everybody ended up okay in the end. But we're praying for everyone's quick recovery who was hurt by this incident. It was a bad one to watch. And then just a few laps later, we had Rinus VeeKay. He also wrecked coming into pit road. The replay, it looked like he had actually gotten down to pit road speed and then just lost it. But you know what? I've done iRacing before. I've driven these cars in iRacing, and they have a mind of their own sometimes too. It's just one of those things that happens in IndyCar. And then we get to one of the big stories of the weekend. Kyle Larson going for that second attempt at the double. Gets down on the apron on a restart and completely wipes it out just before the halfway point. Took out a few other competitors with him. So unfortunately, he's going to have an early trip to Charlotte, where hopefully he does a better job in the 600. But it was not a great second attempt at the weekend sweep for Larson. And then the rookie Schwartzman slides into his pit crew on pit road during a pit stop later on. I can't say pit too many times apparently. And unfortunately, that left front tire, when it hit the wall and pinned his crew member, it bent his, I don't know if that's a toe link. I don't know these cars very well, like stock cars. But unfortunately, that incident also ended his day. Not a great run for the first timer. But you know what? He showed a lot of speed all week. He's going to have many more chances at this later on. More issues on pit road. This is like the 5th or 6th one now. Ryan Hunter-Reay stalls the car in the pits while he was racing for the lead. This was one of the favorites to win. And it was a hectic radio call listening to this live. And he just stalled the engine, and it took them a good while going. I think he lost an entire lap or two from this. But that essentially took him out of contention for this race, leaving it over to Ericsson and Palou. These guys had a great fight in the last 20 to 30 laps for the race win, but it ended up with Alex Palou winning his first ever Indy 500 champion. He's already won several IndyCar championships, but this is his first time winning the big race, and it was an awesome celebration to watch. A lot of people really liked watching this happen. And now we get to the crown jewel of the weekend, at least for people like myself. The Coca-Cola 600 back at Charlotte Motor Speedway. This was a big one. We had Chase Briscoe sitting his fast Toyota on the pole. Kyle Larson, back from Indianapolis, was starting on his outside, took the lead immediately. And he was ready to avenge his poor performance in Indianapolis. The 5 car was the car to be at the very beginning of this race. His teammate William Byron was hanging tough, but Larson was staying strong the entire time as well. It looked to be a major threat to the end of this race. Once is an accident, twice is a coincidence. Not a great weekend for Kyle Larson. But yes, with this, Larson has gone way back into the field. He did manage to save his car, but he has some work to do, and his crew had to do a lot of repair work after this. But William Byron takes the lead and completely dominates the entire first and second stage of this race. Nobody had an answer for the 24 car when the sun was still up. And at lap 200, we had the big moment of silence for the memorial of our troops. But William Byron dominated the entire first 2 stages of this race. Even through green flag pit stops, he only extended his lead. He finished stage 2 over 8 seconds ahead of the competition. It looked to be a hard lock to win tonight's race. After the stage break, Byron took the lead again in stage 3, but he had a new challenger, Denny Hamlin. I don't know how that Levin does it, but it seems like every single week he's always getting his way back up to the front, and he hounded Byron the entire stage. And after a quick caution and green flag pit stops, Hamlin actually took the lead away from Byron, the first time a Chevrolet had lost the lead all night, not during pit stops. And Hamlin was scooting away, but he never could quite extend the gap. Never got a full second over Byron, because Byron's car, great long run car, was starting to reel him back in and actually took the lead back. So while all that was going on up front, in the back of the field, there was a lot of great racing going on. Everyone was racing really clean, and that's Kyle Larson in a lot more pieces. Unfortunately, this was the final nail in the coffin for Kyle Larson's weekend. A very long month of May, lots of crashes, and unfortunately had it end like this. Not a great day for the champion. But after all the cleanup was said and done, William Byron maintains the race lead, wins stage 3. And there's another new challenger up front with all the pit stops are said and done. Carson Hocevar actually gets in front of Byron. Hamlin beats them both. And it's Hamlin and Carson Hocevar on the front row to start stage 4. And immediately into turn 1, Hocevar blows his motor. You can't make this stuff up. Hocevar's been kind of a small nuisance for some NASCAR drivers this year, getting into a few incidents he probably didn't need to. But tonight, he was showing a lot of skill and talent, and his race car was super fast, and it looked like Spire Motorsports might actually be able to steal one tonight, but unfortunately, Carson's got to wait a little bit longer, but he did a great job tonight. And now it's back to Hamlin versus Byron, and these two were dogging each other the entire time, back and forth, each swapping the lead. And then green flag pit stops come along. William Byron's pit crew decides to stay in their pit box until it's completely full of fuel. Denny Hamlin does not. And unfortunately, that affected the outcome of this race. William Byron still managed to get ahead of Hamlin coming out of the pits. And Hamlin did not have the fuel to make the end of the race. So with 15 laps to go, Hamlin came down pit road. William Byron looked to be clean and clear to finally win the Coke 600. But then, new challenger, Ross Chastain, the man who started dead last after having to pull out a backup car from a practice crash, had reeled in William Byron. He actually pitted 2 laps later than both Byron and Denny Hamlin did. And that extra rubber paid dividends at the end of this race with 8 laps to go. Chastain caught William Byron and passed him. Willie tried hard to get back to him, tagged the wall a few times, just didn't have the speed. But the humble watermelon farmer wins the Coca-Cola 600, his first crown jewel win, locks himself into the playoffs this year. Trackhouse has finally found their footing this year. They had a rough start to the season. SVG starting to show a lot of promise. Connor Zilic, he's still working his way up through a little bit, but he's going to be really fast too. And this is also his first weekend back after a back injury. But congratulations to Ross Chastain, capping off an exciting day of racing, if I'm being honest with you. But that is it from Charlotte. Next week, the NASCAR Series is going to be at Nashville Superspeedway, which I will be attending, so I'll actually have some first-hand footage to share for that one next week. But anyway, that is going to do it for this week's racing recap. Very fun, full weekend of racing. I love this stuff. If you can tell, I probably have a little bit more of a skewed perception for NASCAR. That's just me. But we'll be back next week. NASCAR is going to be at the Nashville Superspeedway. I believe IndyCar and F1 might be off next week. I'll have to double check that. But we'll be back next Monday for another breakdown. Till then, y'all have a wonderful Memorial Day. Remember and honor. And until next time, I'll catch you later, racers.